Good morning. I made a slight adjustment to our lab planning as we are going through this unit on standardized recipes. I went ahead and updated the chicken Alfredo. So we are going to fill this out in class, but I wanted to create this for students that miss on this day. So this assignment will be for students that are absent and don't get this instruction in class. Our front sheet is always going to stay the same, and so you're going to fill out your recipe name, the date that your group is doing the lab, and it's really important to make sure that you fill out the block and lab number. As we move into some of these labs, we'll be doing group 1 and group 2. Group 1 are people that are ready to do lab today. Group 2 are those that still have some assignments or assessments that they need to complete before they're ready to do the lab. We will have a little bit of class time, but for the most part, that now has become homework. Either you were absent and didn't complete that, or you did not use your class time wisely. The kitchen manager and the executive chef are the same, and that's going to be who is actually filling out the form. So you all will all have access to the recipe, and it's important that each one of the group members is participating in the lab planning. Your learner outcome is always going to be, why are we doing this lab? For this particular unit that we are working on mise en place, and we are working on standardized recipes. There are always going to be in every lab a lot of learner outcomes. You are actually demonstrating and furthering your learning as part of this process through this hands-on activity. In this case, this particular unit, you can always just connect it to what have we been learning the last couple weeks. So mise en place, standardized recipes. Your group members, your executive chef, this is the person mainly responsible for turning in these forms. And then you have, at this time, you only really have about 3. You may have up to 5 group members. On the back of this form is detailed the lab roles and responsibility of each member, but all of these responsibilities need to be met by the group. This part on the front sheet here is what really has changed. Up to this point, we've not really filled this out because we haven't really covered mise en place. Mise en place is what needs to happen before the cooking actually starts. And for this particular lab, you can even make a note here before the chicken hits the pan for this particular lab, which we'll go over as I demonstrate on the next class period. You do not write every ingredient or every bit of cookware on the front. You will look at your recipe and you will complete that as you go. The only ingredients and cookware that you write on the front are what needs to be prepped before the cooking starts, and in this case, before the chicken hits the pan. So are there items that need to be cut? Are there items that need to be made? Or are there items that need to be cooked off before we start the chicken cooking process? Is there cookware that needs to be preheated? For the chicken Alfredo lab, your chicken and onions will already be diced. We have not covered knife skills. My advanced students will be doing that for you. In the future, when we do knife skills, is there anything that you need to cut? For the chicken Alfredo lab, the sauce needs to be made, the garlic bread needs to be prepped, and the pasta needs to be boiled and done or almost completely done before the chicken hits the pan. For cookware, you need to preheat that skillet. You do not put cold meat into a cold pan. That pan needs to be really hot. We'll cover that in demo. You also need to preheat the broiler. You cannot have your chicken almost cooked and be ready to put your garlic bread in and you have a cold oven. Things are not going to come out right. You're not prepared. So ingredients and cookware are part of your physical mise en place that you need to do before you reach that last and final step, which is to cook your chicken. So that is the front sheet of the lab planning forms.